any of it back.
So we are back. Charlie once again has allowed himself to be free and express the amount of love that he has for one movie and one movie alone. And that movie is Jason X. It is unreal.
I sold out.
Yeah.
I sold out for memorabilia.
He did.
You're no longer.
It would not be your
classic Charlie. You are now sellout Charlie.
Corporate Charlie. He's corporate Charlie.
And we have 15.
I'm a horrific whore.
A horrific whore.
Whore.
Yeah, Charlie. Good job.
Thanks, Jim.
The first and foremost, we have to thank everybody who came virtually and hung out with us for Sinister CyberCon this past weekend. It was a pretty big success as far as we're concerned, and the amount of people that we've gotten to watch the content that we produced. It was a very cool time, man. We had Gigi Sol Guerrero, we had John Misari, we had Harrison Smith, we had Paula Lindbergh, we had Greg Cameron. I definitely felt like, and it's usually not this way. Usually Saturday is like the heavy hitting day. I definitely felt like, especially for this thing, it being virtual and it being more of live podcasting than anything, I felt like the interviews on Sunday were way deep. Were like, they were like holy shit time as far as what the guests were talking about and how they were talking and the stories they were sharing. It was great. Charlie, you did Barbara Magnolfi. The response that thing has got right off the get, that was huge. Ashley popping her moderation sherry with Paula Lindbergh was a lot of fun to sit down and watch. And the whole weekend overall, I would say, is opening the door for us to do another Sinister CyberCon at some point. So, yeah, thank you guys for all the support and checking in. We thank all the guests that we had give us their time, all the artists, Megan and Dan, who gave us their time to do a demonstration for us. The whole thing overall, man, it was taxing, but it was a fun day. Thank you, you guys, for being a great team. Thank you, Kane, for just being you in that chair across from me for 7 hours on both days. That was I don't think Andrew has ever made me cry to tears that many times consecutively. Like Andrew was dropping some funny ass jokes that kept the mood light when it was just he and I in an empty room in between.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of fun. I wish you guys were there.
So that brings me.
Hey Jim, it had the feel of a real, like a live convention.
Yeah.
It really did, as far as the interviews. It did have that sense or that flow. The panels, I thought. But I wasn't quite expecting that. But it was a good experience. It was definitely something that's worth revisiting.
Yeah, I would even say that you can't get someone live at a convention, but like they are willing to do that. if you interview them and like have them like broadcast on a screen, like that wouldn't be a bad way to do that either.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, remotely. Yeah.
Yeah, and we have a projector, and at the Scottish Rite Center, they have that screen already, so it would be nothing. I mean,
Tim always has his projector because he has it for the.
Yeah, he does a film thing.
Movie stuff.
But yeah, stay tuned for all of that. Moving into this week, we have the return. We're going to record right after this one. John, Ashley, and I, you're not going to want to miss it. I have some extensive notes somewhere that I took as I watched both Bill and Ted and Slaughterworld to get ready for the return of Hardcore History. And I have some thoughts on Slaughterworld and why this will be the one episode that we talk about Slaughterworld. While we'll discuss Bill and Ted from a yearly, year-to-year basis, as the funniest jokes they did, Slaughterworld will be a one and done. So you're gonna want to turn it. If you're expecting Crazy Jimmy to rant about how trolls are talking. Speaking of trolls, Ashley with her kid Diamond or whatever the fuck that thing's called.
I'm getting called from this again. Is that you?
that's weird. His phone just called with the chat, like our initial.
I just got a call from the chat again.
Oh, you don't pick it up. Those,
You didn't pick.
Anytime they'll let you know.
You didn't pick that up, did you? That call.
No.
Yeah, that's not me calling you.
No. Who's calling?
It's fucking Marianne. I don't know. So.
The trolls.
Wanna play a game?
Yeah, the trolls. Your angry Jimmy rant. The trolls have pretty much been silenced. As we now have confirmed that Not Scary Farm is doing some kind of art show, which is interesting. They're doing some art show as part of their Halloween event this year, and construction officially on the way has been caught by a drone. So God bless you, brave pilot, of Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood. So they are building, they are planning, and California is about to enter phase 3 of reopening. So like it, don't like it, wear a mask, don't wear a mask, freak out, don't freak out. I don't give a shit. Because guess what? It's opening, and Halloween is gonna come. And so will I. To multiple events.
Jimmy, technically they do an art show every year for Knots. They're just making it bigger this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're advertising the shit out of it right now.
I think the past years have just been they've been putting it out there as like feelers and seeing what the response has been. I mean, and some of the artwork that we've seen in their like gallery during the event is like amazing. So I'm actually really excited for that.
And we've met and talked with their youngest artist, Kenzie Crow. He does amazing work. She's done comic books. She's sold tons of pieces. She did a bunch of artwork for Knots last year. So, their art scenes are pretty big. They have a whole store that has nothing but original canvases that you can buy in it during Knots.
So right now, if you're planning on your vacation, everything is pointing to, if you're doing the East Coast thing, everything is pointing to them having tickets go on sale when they normally do at the beginning of June, and we can only assume at this point that tickets will go on sale towards the middle of August like they usually do for California right now. California is definitely more of a sticky situation than Florida seems to be. Of course, it could completely change and be a disaster by October. But the way that things are going, Universal is opening food restaurants tomorrow in their like downtown hotel district area, and Disney is doing and Disney is doing the same in Florida. They're starting to open up their city area in the beginning of next week. So they are starting to see what happens. And I think more than anything, they're starting to get the practice of the guidelines each corporation, along with the government, is ensuing, which there's an interesting video of them doing that at Disneyland in China right now, because that opened, the entire thing opened over there. So if you want to know what theme park travel is going to be like for the foreseeable future, you can find those videos on YouTube as well. Ride operation and all that shit. They walked you through that entire park. It was like the CNN of China with the president of Shanghai Disney showing you exactly, this is everything we've done to cover our ass. And I gotta tell you, it doesn't look shitty. If you take out the fact that you're not gonna see a parade and you're not gonna see fireworks,
and you can't get your pictures directly with characters.
And there's you're not gonna hug a character. The characters.
Are they gonna stagger your arrival times?
I think they are.
I see something like that. So you're going to have a scheduled time to go in, so that you don't have the crowds.
Right. They're gonna
lined up to get in the park.
I don't know what they're.
I actually want to go to the theme park.
Yeah, I don't know what the answer to your question, Charlie, is. Yeah, they are. They're like corralling people into groups of like 250 or something, just so it doesn't become like a huge ordeal.
Yeah.
Which I'm telling you right now is that early entry for Halloween Horror Nights, if Halloween Horror Nights does happen, is going to be crucial, because those front gates on either coast, LA and Orlando, are any corporate haunt event, really. That staggered entrance thing, if they do that, would be nice on a non-COVID day, because that gets fucking stupid in those crowds.
Yeah, I think this would be the year to do VIP.
Yeah. So anyway, positive stuff. It looks like U.S. is going to give it the old college try as far as reopening most of America here sooner than later. So we will see. This week we actually have two things to discuss. First, before we get into John's pick, let's spend a couple minutes on what was the end of when we did the live post-CyberCon podcast, mini podisode. We ended on a Robert Englund versus Leslie Vernon maze to be considered to be part of this year's event. After thinking about it for a day and some of the weed wearing off, I say I would rather no.
Rather what?
Let's just move past it and continue with things as normal. So does anybody else really want and or care about the Leslie Vernon versus Freddy Krueger experience?
I think it's tough because we've gotten Freddy versus Jason, and we've even gotten that as a maze for those that have been through it. So I mean, it's
now, mind you,
it's kind of hard.
It's been
to
mind you, I'm not.
It's somewhat been done.
I'm not.
That's why Jimmy's never getting a Jason X.
I'm not hating on a versus maze. As a matter of fact, I've got a doozy of a versus maze to propose.
No.
In round 3.
No.
So
I honestly think
Jason X.
If it was Leslie Vernon and Art the Clown versus Maze, I would be all in on that one. two characters from last year that we did mazes for individually, so it's kind of a cool idea to bring them back and have them in their own versus maze. But
John's in
that's just me.
John's into the creative director mode right now of this amusement park.
Say, last year we signed them to 2-year contracts, and we're just bringing them in.
I've already got the property. It's got to use it. Come on.
We have to do.
This way we can save some money so we don't have just a bunch of black walls, Jimmy.
So Leslie Vernon versus Freddy Krueger, yes or no? Andrew, yes or no?
Nah, I'm fine. I'm not going to fucking Spider-Man Sony this shit.
I don't know if it plays all the way, but yeah, we'll go ahead. No, okay. Charles.
I'm fine, Jim. That's good. Whatever you guys decide is fine with me.
That's the most passive.
That is such a dad answer right now. Like,
I know.
God.
I'm in dad mode.
John.
Yeah, I say no to that one.
Ashley.
No.
So this week, John's round 2 pick, Sream. The original. Not that shitty MTV series.
I still like it.
I'll tell you what, Ken, you like that series, you just watch Scream 4 on repeat.
You know what? I almost watched that today.
Anyway, we're talking about the regular Scream, the good Scream. Nev Campbell, right out the gate, even when I was a preteen, I didn't know really who Drew Barrymore was, but I knew she was good looking, and the fact that you almost get a little bit of boob as she gets stabbed in her front yard was enough to have me, at like 13 years old, highly invested in this film. This film is one of the ones that my dad rented from Blockbuster. Like, he brought this home.
Oh, really?
And I can remember my mom being pissed that he brought it home, because when Drew Barrymore gets slaughtered,
those are pretty graphic kills at the beginning.
Well, at that time, especially.
Intestines hanging out and
Yeah, it's weird.
pretty gruesome stuff.
Yeah.
Right from the get-go.
Less and less group.
I'm trying to think of anything that was like comparable to it at that point, because you have to imagine this is 99, 2000, and the slasher had pretty much been dead and buried.
96.
This was the
96.
this was the rebirth of the slasher is what this was.
Yeah.
It's the new age of the slashers.
And the new age of horror, really, you could tie, because before Scream, you didn't have a whole lot of anything. And then after Scream, you started to not only have more character films, but you also had films like Hostel, like Eli Roth got rolling, early 2000s. Cabin Fever. You had, obviously, Saw. You had...
Saw, definitely.
But then you started to have those one-offs as well. You started to have films like Cabin in the Woods get a whole lot more consideration, because horror started to have a whole lot bigger consideration.
Yeah.
People started to take it seriously again.
I think the only thing that was like close to this that came out before would have been Candyman, because that came out in the 90s. And that's when this came out in 96. And actually, it's funny because they even reference Candyman in this movie.
Yeah.
Candyman.
So, I mean, other than that, though, I mean, you had those powerhouses from the 80s. And then it seemed like everything kind of hit a dry spell in horror.
Well, it's kind of cool.
It really did.
It's cool that they had Halloween playing in the background in the house.
Yeah.
And you get the music from Halloween.
Yeah, it's like it was a
screen flashes of scenes from the movie, and it's almost like, okay, this is the old giving way to the new. This is the transition here from the old slasher film to a more modern kind of slasher film that has this more of a sense of humor about,
Which, by the way,
Mm-hmm.
I'm convinced that the reason why it is Michael Myers, our Halloween that gets played repeatedly on here, is because Wes Craven is directing Scream. So if the shoe's on the other foot, and John Carpenter's directing Scream, I'd be willing to bet you there's a shitload of Wes Craven Easter eggs in the film.
That could be, yeah.
No, there was still plenty of Wes Craven Easter eggs, like Fred, the janitor in the school.
Oh, for sure. Well, there's Easter eggs throughout the whole film because it is like the first real horror film to meta that these characters are characters.
What I like is a lot of the Easter eggs too are strictly, you have to be a pretty good horror fan to pick up some of them. Because like in the beginning, when Drew Barrymore's parents know that something's wrong when they come back to the house and the dad goes, "Will you go down to the Mackenzies?"
Mm-hmm.
Well, that is directly from Halloween.
Yeah.
Because
I want
Jamie
you to
Lee
go
Curtis
across the
tells
street.
the kids, "Go down to the Mackenzies," but that's kind of, it's an obscure reference. I mean, if you don't pay close attention to horror films, you would have missed it.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I watched Scream in a while, and after kind of like doing what we've been doing for like the last 5 years and going back and watching it, I'm like, oh, that's from that. Oh. It's very nice to see like all the little like takes that they have, and little hats off to other horror movies that Raven has kind of brought through.
Mm-hmm.
So this film, Drew Barrymore, she's sitting there, she's popping popcorn, she gets a phone call. It's a weird dude trying to get her to take her clothes off and do things to herself. I don't know. She hangs up. She's not having it. Guy calls back. She's still not having it. Guy calls back again. She says she has a boyfriend, going to beat the shit out of him. Boyfriend says, something along the lines of, "That's going to be pretty tough. Go turn on your patio light." There's boyfriend. Now this dude wants to play a game. The infamous "I want to play a game" question. What's your favorite scary movie question? That comes up for the first time in this exchange in the first 5 minutes with Drew. Drew gets the question wrong. Her boyfriend gets gutted, like we discussed. It's kind of a brutal gore effect.
Yeah,
Not comparisonably so anymore, but it still looks good.
Yeah.
It doesn't look shitty. Yeah. It's not like watching a movie from like the 50s and you can see the zipper in the costume or anything like that.
Slasher films don't have that extreme gore usually anyway. They're usually just...
Well, I mean, you could see the zipper in the costume of the Leprechaun in Leprechaun Origins. And that movie came out in like 2016.
Really? Oh, wow.
So, yeah, one of the first movies that we covered on this show.
The zipper guy had one job.
One job,
and he fucked it up.
He did.
Leprechaun Origin.
Yeah.
Make sure that zipper doesn't show.
So anyway, the twist...
Fucked it up.
You fucked it up. Anyway, the twist within that whole universe, Scream world, Northern California, is that Drew Barrymore is not in any way, shape, or form pivotal to the plot of the movie.
Yeah.
She was literally a cameo, up-and-coming actress that they used as top billing, mind you, for that movie.
Right.
To get people to go watch it. And they kill her in the first 5 minutes, and now we're off and running with Neve Campbell. And
that right there was an immediate takeoff from Psycho.
Yeah, exactly.
As well, to have your main star be in this film, then get killed right away. I mean, that shocked so many people with Psycho. So I mean, for them to do that in this, with Janet Leigh, and then to do
Jamie
that.
Lee Curtis's mom. You know?
Yeah.
So that's cool. I remember. I'm old enough to remember. I was like 10 years old, I think, when Psycho came out. And that was the thing that a lot of people talked about. They were so shocked because Janet Leigh was a big star. So she does not make it through, I think, maybe a third of the movie before she's killed off. And that made it doubly shocking because you expected her to be the heroine, to be the last girl, and survive.
Yeah.
She's kind of a shitty person. Not
What's
like,
that?
not like for real. Not like Janet Leigh, the character.
Yeah.
Like you're not necessarily sad that Norman killed her.
No, she's a thief. I mean, obviously, she's going to take off with the money. And good point.
So, rewatch the movie, Kane. I can tell you have no idea what I'm talking about when I say that.
That's Psycho.
Psycho. Yeah.
The original.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. Keep up.
I'm just trying to see what's going on in your room now. Now that it's more well lit. And so next to Kane's not on his bed this week. But next to the picture of the boob that we discussed a couple shows ago, we have a ass. So you need one more picture. So anyway, these high school I didn't say it. These high school friends, they're all kind of shooken about this murder that took place. Much like similar came to Derek Thomas when he murdered David after we graduated high school.
Why would you bring nothing to do with David?
I'm saying it shakes this group like that shook our group. So this group is kind of shook, but we have Sid, played by Neve Campbell, and her hot blonde friend, who I don't know the name of the actress, but Tatum.
Rose McGowan.
Oh, Rose McGowan.
Yeah.
Rose McGowan? Are you serious? You know who Rose McGowan is?
I do know who Rose McGowan is, but Rose McGowan as Tatum is like Jimmy's high school crush, and I completely disassociate Rose McGowan with that character from Scream, because that character from Scream is
Tate Young.
Yeah.
There is a very memorable nipple scene in the tight sweater.
God.
When she goes
They had
into the
to
garage.
go to a walk-in freezer before that scene, because that was ridiculous.
I know, it was like
it, John?
nothing, and then pop, there they are.
Out real cold.
Gonna go get beer. Hi.
Jack Frost is doing you a favor.
Yeah, really.
And then their two respective boyfriends. Sydney's dating Billy, who I'm trying to keep it PG, but it's really hard when you're as smart as I am, and I know that Billy was sexually abused, which led to his murder. You just carbon case. That kid was fucked with at a young age.
I'm pretty sure her dad was just banging his mom.
I'm pretty sure there's other shit going on.
No, his mom, or her mom was banging his dad, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why his mom left and abandoned him.
Yeah.
And his dad.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
If we
That's
get
why he has issues, Andrew.
like, if we can honestly, we're a movie and a half away from finding out that Sid's mom was a coke whore that got trains ran on her in Hollywood back offices. So it's not like the franchise doesn't get dark pretty rapidly as far as these fucking characters. I mean, Dewey is a fucking severely handicapped sheriff by the time this thing is over. Okay? So they're not pulling any punches. So don't look at me when I say Billy had some kind of abuse done to him, which led him to a path of murder. Don't look at me like I'm a fucking crazy person. Because, god damn it,
there could have been a lot of Norman Bates stuff going on with him. Because, I mean, he even quotes...
he does.
Tony Perkins, at the end.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there could have been something with him and his mom, and then when she left, it just made him snap.
That's why he got so jealous.
And Tatum, hold
this
on.
This movie has a lot of light moments, where it's making fun of the horror film tropes, and the characters like Dewey are kind of goofy and kind of fun to watch, and then you get hit with this really hardcore gore and horror. So if I had been in high school when I watched this would have been the perfect movie. I mean, I saw it when I was in my 40s, so, I'd seen pretty much everything by then.
Yeah.
But this, to me, is like a perfect movie for its audience, because I'm thinking, oh, yeah, they're gonna recognize a lot of people they know in it, in terms of character types, and then they're going to get hit with this devastating, these devastating kills and all this evisceration and all that stuff. And, I think this movie's a classic too. I really do, for that reason. It's a good movie for its time and place.
I think you guys safely say that what mainstreamed horror into like cinematic movies. Like after this movie, horror became a bigger deal, and popular culture adapted to horror.
It had before. It was just a wave.
But
Popular
commercial horror, because like the way Ghostface came out after, Michael Myers' mask was popular, but Ghostface probably sold more masks than any horror icon. I mean, the year Sream came out and the couple of years after, than I think Michael Myers ever would have.
This was a monster.
It became the big Halloween. Yeah, it became the big Halloween costume.
Right.
I mean, how many of us has either purchased that mask or worn it at some point?
Exactly. And then, when they make fun of the movie, then they had the...
I've never worn it, and I've never purchased it.
I have, I think, once, maybe twice, actually, so...
I've got a big rubber head of Ghostface. It's not out right now. I pull it out at Halloween time, but yes, I do have it.
How about you, Jimmy? Did you ever wear it?
Oh, I'm sure. I think I vaguely remember holding one in my hand. I can imagine. I don't think I was ever ghost faced for Halloween, but I'm sure I put the mask on for some reason.
Well, I mean, I feel like everyone fucked with their friends with that mask. During Halloween, you would pop out and fuck with your friends, or...
This was also probably the most pirated costume get-up, from third-party sellers I have ever seen in my life as well. Now they sell... Now Walgreens is selling glow-in-the-dark and chrome ghost faces, which that motherfucker... I haven't watched the MTV show after the first season, so Kane, you'll have to answer. Is Ghostface ever chrome or glow-in-the-dark?
I don't think it glows... No.
Oh, cool. He's chrome, though. Cool. So...
No, I don't think it is.
So...
I think it chrome and glow-in-the-dark before that TV series came out, to be honest with you.
There's also a Ghostface mask I can remember seeing that blood ran down.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that mask thinking that the filmmakers fucked up, because that would be a cool movie shot.
Yeah. So even rewatching this, it actually brought back some memories. Something we used to do is growing up, we had the small town area, and we had the residential area with all the kids growing up the same age. We actually used to play hide and go seek at night, and one of us would dress up as Ghostface, and that was the person that was it, and would run around and chase us to tag you.
Wow,
that is.
I mean, I could only assume what parents thought looking out their windows and seeing that. But for us, it was so much fun, and we were young, and I mean that's just how big and popular that character became for us in our generation. For us, it was our Freddy, our Jason, and Michael.
Myers.
I think I've told you guys this story before, but out of lifetime memories that you will remember like it was yesterday. This year I went to Foothill Horizons, and it was supposed to be Scream themed. And like the way that Foothill did their summer camp is like whatever the theme was, Tuesday night was like the warm up theme night. And then Wednesday they would like put together these huge events around the whatever theme. So each week is a different theme. So on Tuesday morning at breakfast, the camp director and the head creative guy are seen arguing loudly outside of the cafeteria. Enough so that like all the older kids, I was probably in 7th or 6th grade, see this go on. And we're like, what are Jeff and Dana fighting about? Dana was dating Jeff's sister, who was the nurse. And I can remember my buddy used to have to take medicine, and I can remember after breakfast going with him to get his treatment, and she's crying. But she's trying to act like she's not crying in front of us. Like, this is how thick this plot got. So the rumors leak. One of you guys got to turn your speaker down. One of your speakers is bad. Let's see if it's you.
Yeah, try that.
So anyway, the nurse is like, yelling, upset, visibly upset that her boyfriend and her brother have had this like come to terms argument, and like so everyone's like, damn, I think Dana's gonna quit, and like, is Jeff gonna have to refund all of our parents' money? Like, these are like the things like the counselors are like, every time we ask the counselor something like, is Scream gonna be canceled? Because that was what the theme was Scream. So this is like the summer that movie came out. They're like, we don't know. So dinner happens, and at dinner Jeff gets up on stage and he says some of the parents have called and have said that the Tuesday night the parents are concerned. So they made it, the story that they were saying was that like the warm up, which I couldn't even remember, I can't even tell you what we did on Tuesday, but whatever scared thing they did on Tuesday was so, their story is that was so scary that there were like several campers who asked to call home because no one had a cell phone then, and they had enough complaints from parents that they had to call it off. So they were working on a replacement non-Scream event. Lunch happens on Wednesday. No one's like saying anything, and they start to set up some like brightly colored paper during lunch. And our group was the oldest that you could camp at. So we were kind of shadowing the counselors in training. And we said, well, what's the new theme? And one of them says Pocahontas' River Journey. And then, so the event goes on. We're the oldest now, so we are the last group to get to go on Pocahontas' River Journey. And so we've now, by the time we've waited for them to take our group out, we've seen like Pocahontas for a run and a half. So we've watched all of Pocahontas, they've rewound it, and now we're halfway through Pocahontas back-to-back viewings. It is like 9:30 at night. We are the biggest bunch of like 13-year-old assholes. Like, we are not happy at all at this point. Jeff, the camp director, comes in, and he is our John Smith. And I'm like, oh, okay, we waited this long. At least we got Jeff to be the leader of this thing. And he's like trying his best not to look fucking dejected to all end. That it's like he's acting like the camp's going to go out of business. And we have to hold up this cardboard canoe on either side. So it's like the outline of the canoe, and you're holding it up on either hand. So now you're in the middle of the canoe. Everybody paddle. And we're fucking like going down this, we're walking down this hill with this fucking cardboard canoe. I remember we saw Grandmother Willow, and she made us find like a particular leaf to show her before we moved on to the next fucking thing. So now we're really upset. Like, this sucks, right? And so anyway, now we see Miko and Pocahontas are on this hill. Pocahontas is like halfway up the hill. Miko's at the top of this hill. She goes, hold on, I will come with you guys. Let me get Miko. Miko scurries away, cheesily, like it's a fucking stuffed animal tied to a rope. And Jeff goes like, wait, like Pocahontas, wait. And then we hear what is the most blood-curdling scream, and a bucket of blood just runs down the hill. And Jeff starts calling Pocahontas by her real name. And then we see Ghostface run the clearing at the top of the hill with a knife in his hand. And he looks directly at us and runs into the woods. And Jeff is like in tears. Like, you could tell, like, if he wasn't worried about cussing, he'd be cussing. Because he's like, that's not supposed to happen. What the hell is going on? And what they did is they literally created like a 45-minute haunted house with all the scenes from Scream.
Wow.
And they scared the absolute shit out of us. Like, you're in fucking Sonora running through the woods from Ghostface. Like, they did the boyfriend, they did the Drew Barrymore scene in the counselor's house, which they had a payphone so they could make the phone ring. Like, they, like, the whole nine. It was fucking ridiculous, the amount of effort that they were able to pull off. That tells you how much staying power this film has on our generation. This is a film that, you know, to sit here and talk about the plot, you know, everybody's seen it so much. You know, Billy, like we said, Billy has become this psycho who in turn has really set up this, like, 2-3 year elaborate plan of having Sid, you know, in love with him, and also he could basically lead up to a point where he is strong enough and has enough men's within him, having known that Sid's mom is the reason why his father left, to kill or incapacitate Sid's dad enough to kill Sid and whoever else may get in the way, along with his buddy Matthew Pillard. Old Stu there.
We also forget that him and Matthew Lillard killed her mom and raped her and left her. This, like, they're the reason why she feels so fucking terrible. He is a seriously fucked up guy, Billy. Like, not only did I date you, as in rape and murder your mother, but I continued dating you for a year while I planned your fucking death and how to get away with it, as well as murdering half the town.
Right.
Yeah.
Super messed up.
Pretty dark stuff.
I would almost like to see a version of Scream where they get away with it.
Well, I'll tell you who's gotten away with it, Kane. The producers, because there's a Scream 5 around the corner.
Is it really?
And Neve Campbell is coming back.
Really?
Always.
Which is not that surprising, because she's not busy.
I everyone. Yeah.
Yes.
I couldn't remember if she's in 3.
I was going to say, I couldn't remember if she's in 4, but no, she's there.
Yeah, she's definitely 4.
Yeah.
3 is like my favorite one because they go to Hollywood.
4/remake.
Yes. Slash.
Is Dewey still alive? I don't remember this. The
last Scream 4, they're married, right? Dewey and Gail, they're officially tied the knot.
I think in 4, I think they did that in 3, and then in 4 they're like separated.
Oh, they've already been divorced?
So. I've seen them all, but it's been so long ago I don't remember a lot about the sequels.
Yeah, really.
I remember the original pretty well.
The only one worth rewatching over and over.
Yeah.
I like 3. They get mixed.
2's not bad either, but still.
None of them. The 3 is really the way to go. Three leaves you with Dewey and Gale getting engaged, and Sid's probably gonna bang Patrick not Swayze, but what's his name? McDreamy.
Oh, Dempsey?
Yeah, Patrick Dempsey. Sid's probably gonna bang him, and they'll have a relationship that has a whole lot of trauma and shit into it as she relives the years of her life. Maybe Scream 5 will be Patrick Dempsey coming back, and he's the fucking, like, he's the bad guy.
Nah, it's gonna be the sons.
It'll be like Billy's father.
Or Matthew Lillard's brother.
Yeah, or his parents that are gonna be so mad at him.
I fucking... He's my favorite part of this whole movie, by the way. Like, his pure pressure.
Yeah, pure
my mom and dad
it's
are gonna
true,
be so
'cause
mad
it's
at
like, literally, his motive behind it is...
It's just that he's hanging out with his friend and having fun doing what he's doing with him. Like, that's his only reason for doing it. I think that's why
I don't know. Does that make him even more psychotic?
Yeah, because you kind of think there's a little bit of, like, are they banging?
There was that point where, like, they're in the kitchen and he's, like, leaning up behind Billy, and I was even kind of like...
You're like...
So...
Big scary movie, hit that one on the head.
Yeah, a little romantic. They totally did.
1 through 10, Charlie, Scream.
Well, I give it a 9.5.
Okay. No,
Then I'm kind of leaning towards a 10 because it's,
perfect.
Yeah, it's really good.
Ashley.
I'll give it an 8.
Tough one from the Russian judge yet again. Ashley's. John.
I give it a 9.9 because rewatching it, there was one scene where I was like, what the fuck? And it was when they're in the grocery store and Ghostface is in the grocery store, like, stalking them. Like, it just shows him, like, through the reflection of, like, one of the freezer doors.
Oh,
I'm
and
like, what the fuck is he doing in his costume, like, in the grocery store? Like, how does nobody else really go, hey, there's that guy running around in the costume?
That's the scene where she like falls or something, right?
No, they're just in the store shopping to get food for the party they're going to.
Dude, I'll have to rewatch that scene. I don't remember seeing them in the thing.
I was just like, what?
John, you know how I see that? That costume is so easy to take on and off.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just throw it on real quick, put on the mask, take it off. Do you know what I mean?
What is Wade?
Yeah.
And Jimmy,
if you could do that in like 10 seconds.
Jimmy, if you're going to rewatch it, there's a scene, I don't know why, but when I just rewatched it, when Dewey's like talking to the sheriff, and when they start talking about like the dad possibly being a suspect, they have like this music playing. It felt so much from like an old Western that I was almost like, is this like through Dewey? And like he's thinking how
that's Dewey's,
he's like the sheriff in town.
That's Dewey's theme.
So, like,
they play that theme whenever David Arquette's around. That wow 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 wow.
And he's got the ice cream, and the sheriff's got the cigarette, but it's like he's almost eating the ice cream like it's something else. And
it's a little
he's
like
playing it in his head like it's a whole different scene.
It's like a little westerny riff.
Yeah, like it was so funny.
Yeah.
I'm the deputy of this town.
Wow 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 wow.
Not what you say.
What does Wade give Scream? What does Wade give Scream? What's Wade's score?
Oh, definitely a 10.
All right. Kane?
10. Yeah, I love this movie. I can watch it over and over again. Obviously, I like it so much I watched the MTV series, so...
Kane, does Gus sleep in your bed?
No.
Does he sleep in your room?
No.
Where does Gus sleep?
I know.
Huh?
Where's this leading, Jim?
Yeah, I don't know where you're going with it.
Yeah.
I don't know, I was just curious.
Are you thinking that both of us that bed because he's huge.
Yeah. So our
He just wants to make sure he gets somebody to cuddle with at night.
I feel like he deserves most of your bed after you've told the world he was dead last week.
Just give him the middle finger, Andrew. It's
not even worth it. What do you give it, Jimmy? Tell us what you think. For fuck's sake.
I'm not even gonna give a score.
What?
I'm not even gonna score it.
Give it a score.
I'm not even gonna score
It's
it.
it's a part
Jim, you love this movie. We know what your score is.
Yeah, the
And guess
movie.
what? If you don't score it, then you don't get to drop your proposal.
That's fine with me. Ashley, stop.
We still get to vote on his proposal, so.
No, we don't have to hear it. Oh,
Here's the
like that.
here's the important things that you have to consider with a threat like that. First and foremost, by the time it is my turn to give my proposal, and I appreciate that term, proposal, because there will be an extensive proposal for when we meet in person. That's the other thing to consider. Not only will it be proposal, it will be a presentation when the lockdown is lifted and we're all in a room together and there's nowhere to run and there's nowhere to hide.
That's it. That's if
As
we even
my-
show up, Jimmy.
As my
Implications of what you're proposing, Jimmy, makes this proposal a bit indecent.
so I mean, I'm not implying anything. I'm not.
I'm good. I'm out.
Your implication. That's all you, dog. Whatever you're thinking right now. I didn't say shit.
I can see your eyes. I know exactly what you're thinking.
The movie is a 10.
The fact that you're being so coy about it right now
I think
is
I
so
see
like
X's inside
mysterious.
him. I don't.
Scream 1 is a 10. It's a perfect horror film. There's nothing wrong with that movie, and especially considering what it did for the genre when that movie came out, because we were on like Wishmaster 6 and fucking some pretty deep dives as far as trying to get fucking a decent horror movie. So
Yeah, that's true. Very true.
When Scream 1 came out, that really was like the renaissance period for horror fans, especially at my age, at like 12, 13 years old. That was a big deal. So it's a 10. Right now in our virtual scare park, we have 2 shows. We have the horror Color Out of Space Lake Experience produced by John Scott, along with the Heathen Legion Slider Show, also produced by John and Ashley Scott. John's going to be busy running from the beach area to the camp area every operating night of the scare park. In that camp...
Not like he doesn't already do that kind
No,
of stuff.
for sure. In the scare park
It's
as
like
well.
it's like the Boomers and the Higby Haunt nights.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. In the camp area, haunted house-wise, we have the Color Out of Space haunt. And we have a ride, the Crystal Lake Log Flume Experience. So we have room. We have to name a zone, come up with a house, come up with a dark ride for that zone. International area, we have the Woman in Black house. We still have 2 rides and a some kind of food establishment to be named. In the outer space, the Spacelation area, we have the Whaling Corp laser tag experience. We need a roller coaster, 2 houses, a zone, and a restaurant. Space, pretty dire. Industrial, we have Ashley's Candyman Maze, the Alien Factory into Flight Simulator, and our main show, which we haven't come up with a theme for, along with a scare zone. So the main show and scare zone. Monsters area, we have room for 2 houses, a ride, John's Dracula coaster and a scare zone. All of it's bare except the Dracula coaster. The beach is filling up more than anything else right now. We have the Big Dipper roller coaster, the Marianne haunted house for Andrew, the Santa Carla Beach Boardwalk Scare Zone. Again, that's where the Heathen Legion Slider Show is at. So we still need one house and a water ride theme for that land. And that leads us to where we are today, the Horrific Avenue, where we have the door-to-door, the Charlie Doorman themed scare zone, and the inside of the mine of Tim Burton Dark Ride. So obviously if this thing was going to be a house, it would be in the Horrific Avenue area. So I say yes, house, Horrific Avenue area. Charlie?
That's what I would say, Jim. Yeah, I would say my choice would be a house.
John?
Yeah, definitely a walkthrough. I mean, you can have Barrymore's house to start. Walk up, go in there, have all that, and then end up going to like Sydney's house for a bit, where he attacks there. You could go to the school, and then you could end up at Stu's house for the party, where you can have the van, and then everything else that happens along the house and inside the house. So there's actually a lot more settings in this than I thought there would have been. Originally, just from off the top of my head, and then when I rewatched it and actually was thinking, haunt or attraction, there was definitely a lot more settings and visuals where you could use Ghostface and have him popping out and attacking, and then even having Billy jump out at you with a knife covered in blood would be kind of creepy looking. So I mean, yeah, definitely a haunted house. I would love to have Ghostface jump out and scare the crap out of me.
Ashley.
A house is fine.
Kane.
A house is great.
I was researching something. Leave me alone.
Wow, I'm just thinking like
You got caught is what makes me laugh.
No, it was more.
It's not a matter of getting caught. It's I wanted a house, and I was researching something. So
There was more. It was more that everybody just agrees bluntly and perfectly that it should be a house.
Yeah,
it's the first time.
True.
It's the first time that we haven't argued over the placement of the maze, and with that gets us through the process a lot cleaner. The next week, Ashley, it is your choice. What do you choose?
I'm choosing the Frighteners.
Oh, good.
Fuck yes.
Yes, good choice. Good choice.
Andrew's
all in.
You got nothing wrong with
No, that's a good choice. Yeah.
It's in everything.
Peter Jackson.
I want that goddamn fucking. Can we do the graveyard?
I don't know. Can we?
Andrew, just save it for right now, and then plan it all out, and then propose it to us next week.
Well, let's rewatch the movie first.
I've watched that movie so many times. I can tell you right now.
Do you own it? Do you have it? Andrew, do you own it?
Yeah.
Andrew,
I'm on DVD and digitally own it now.
We've been doing this almost 6 years. That's the most excited I think I've ever seen Andrew get.
Well, they were talking about playing at the State Theater, and I was super stoked, but I don't think they ever got around to playing it.
Yeah, well.
I was going to nominate El Gigante, but it's only 14 minutes, and that's not enough content really to give us what we need.
We could have that discussion in international land later on down the road, because that movie's pretty fucking crazy.
I haven't seen it yet, so.
Well, you use that fucking Shudder membership, because that's 14 minutes. You will not be sad that you sat down and watched a fucking thing. Like that movie. Like Gigi's whole thing that she talked about, that whole right turn that horror directors need to do more of. That movie, holy shit! If you want a carbon example of what a right turn is, go watch I can't say it. El Gigante.
El Gigante.
Why can everyone say it but you, Charlie? We're all white as fuck.
I still don't think he can say La Llorona.
Yeah, can you say La Llorona?
Me?
No, I'm sorry.
La Llorona.
Yes, there we go.
Jimmy can't speak Spanish. It's okay.
It's really weird. I don't understand.
La Llorona.
La Llorona. Double L is a ya. It's a Y sound.
They bring that bitch back to Halloween Horror Nights, so I'm alright with it. More La Llorona at Halloween Horror Nights. One last thing, speaking of Halloween Horror Nights, I don't know how Andrew continues to be on the roll as far as the voting in our Halloween Horror Nights icon thing, our icon tournament goes. But last week we did votes on Jack the Clown versus Bloody Mary and the Crypt Keeper versus Hollywood Harry. Andrew begrudgingly picked Jack the Clown, and then he picked the Crypt Keeper. Both have won. So they are both in the second round. We will get into what this week's matchup is on Encore History, because that is about to record an episode live for the first time in a while. We've re-aired all the ones that we did last year, so this year's run, starting right where we left off, it won't be any different to you, as like I said, we just reposted them all. But we are going to be talking Halloween Horror Nights 2007 in Hollywood, the shows and scare zones of that year. So, with that, next week, Ashley and the Frighteners, sounds like an 80s metal band, we will have Campfire Chronicles to see. We're on a bit of a roll as of late as far as placing shit, so maybe this season will get done in time for haunt season this year. It's a pretty daunting task when we took it on, but it's starting to fill up. So, and Andrew looks damn determined to make sure the Frighteners fills it up as well. So, thank you for listening. Good night, everybody.